Yo, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was like, open that mouth. Sure that she's talking and open that mouth. If it say something, we rubbing it out. And then there's something it out. And then it's got and it's part of this nothing.
And now from an undisclosed location, you are now tuned in to the Xander Effect with host Xander Dames.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames, along with co-host actor Jeremy Miller. Jeremy, how you doing today?
What's up, my fellow degenerate?
Nice, nice. Of course, you know I always am. And welcome to the show that pretty much showcases a lot of up-and-coming actors and talented musicians and plays great music and also provides you with information on entertainment, sports, and video games. And talking about entertainment, we have the top story is Erick Morillo, a famous DJ, dies at the age of 49. We'll talk a little bit about that. In sports, soccer player Neymar tests positive for COVID-19. We'll talk a little bit about that. In video game news, Cyberpunk 2077, the developers say that the game will not be 200 gigabytes. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, I also had the opportunity to chat with an up-and-coming actor / model, Fred DiBella. I talked to him a little bit about how he got started in the industry and his experience being Adam Levine's body double. We'll talk. We'll go ahead and get into that. But first, here is the Xander Effect world premiere of Dirty Machines 905 right here on the Xander Effect.
You are now listening to the Xander Effect world premiere.
Introduce myself, I'm Davo, Dirty Davo. Let's remember the name, I threw a wrench in the game. I'm a hero to the weirdos, like a nasty D. You can't piss me out, I come back home like Rambo. I'm Midwest, ready to my porno, ready to you assholes act like you don't know. I wake the fuck up, I get what I want, I just have to say it. I'm so sick of waking up, sick of waking up to this. I'm so sick of heading up, motherfucker, give it up. This shit about the same old shit. I'm so sick of waking up, sick of waking up to this. One more time, give it up, but you'll never give it up. Acting like you give a shit. Everybody hates when I rap my home, Raytown, Missouri, where the fuck y'all at? Let's go, nose deep in some ass, still talking about me. Oh no, just a hack motherfucker that can't let it go. Rico, your Uncle Rico. I wake the fuck up, I get what I want, I just have to say it. I'm so sick of waking up to this. I'm so sick of heading up, motherfucker, give it up. This shit about the same old shit. I'm so sick of waking up,
What up? This is AB.
Hey guys, this is Sean Kanan.
What's going on? It's Amanda Holley.
Hey, Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains here.
This is Maxim Model Riley Sawyer.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Xander Effect.
It's a millionaire.
Tell me what you want. Pull up on you, hop your body in the bed.
Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you want. I don't even know, but I know I got a headache. Where you going with your badass? You got a fat ass, you should let me grab it. You make it hard to keep my hands to myself. Is that your man or he just somebody? Somebody help me. Shorty, I can get your body on my head. I just wanna get your body in my bed. Tell me what you want.
Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you want.
Damn, roll out, hold out. Yeah, turn around too, cut that ass swallow up. You know I had to show love, cause when you make it bounce, that body get 20 ounce of that Coca-Cola. Shake it up, then I watch it bubble like soda. You know it's over when I introduce you to the Cobra. Legs on my shoulders, body smoking like sour D's. So baby girl, my guess is you a ill roller. I bet it's so good, this shit'll put me in a coma. I'm a killer, you bout to catch it like this shit Corona. Baby, you a stoner, I got a lot of by your friends. And when you done, shorty, hang the phone up. Damn, shorty, take a pic, rich nigga shit. Hit a lick, spin it quick, give you back shots like I'm ignorant. Slide up inside you. You ain't believe me that I saw you like Riley. Call me a Illijah.
I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to.
Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you want.
Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you want.
That was Riley Sawyer's Roll Up featuring Illijah and Young Qwes right here on the Xander Effect. So we always have like a little obscure funny news that we're trying to go ahead and talk about before we get into entertainment, sports, and video games. And well, Jeremy, you guys usually find this obscure, crazy news on the internet, but I found one that was actually posted on TMZ a few days ago, and it's regarding a British prankster that took his prank too far by dyeing his girlfriend's bathtub blue while she was in it, basically covering her entire body in blue dye. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is not a funny joke. Personally, if you saw the picture and you saw the video, you saw like how she looked. It's kind of funny because she's completely blue. And of course, TMZ they go ahead and just egg it on by saying, quote, a British TikTok and YouTube star totally blew it. spelling it beat.
Of course.
E. And I'm just like, wow, you guys are so messed up. But apparently the prankster, his name is Kristen Hanby, pranked his girlfriend Jasmine Woodward, and a lot of people are calling it low-key abuse. They're saying that he humiliated her, even if she was in on it. It's still not cool. Like, they just went off on him for it. And I mean, it's a funny joke. In my opinion, it's a funny joke, and especially if she was in on it, it's even funnier, you know. But yeah, like TMZ really went on it, saying that left her looking like a Smurfette.
Well, you know, I don't know. Some people have fetishes that might work for some people, but for me, I mean, from read about this is that they have a history of being pranksters and doing this kind of stuff, and she's been a part of it before. So that's what I have a problem with, with people saying this is low-key abuse or anything else like that. If they have a history of messing with each other like that, did he cross the line maybe a little bit? Possibly. I know, you know, my fiance Joni would whoop my ass.
I was gonna ask you
if I did something. Are you kidding? If Joni ended up blue for days, I'd be dead. There'd just be no question.
What about red?
Red? Oh no, she hates red.
Like USC red.
Well, see, I would be okay with that, but that still might get me killed.
Right?
But again, Joni and I have never had, you know, prank wars and that kind of stuff. That's not our relationship. Mm-hmm. So if that's the kind of relationship they had where they mess with each other and all this kind of stuff, and they've both been a part of each other's pranks, then, you know, that's just the kind of relationship they have. And I don't see it being, I mean, yeah, is it a little over the top? Absolutely. I mean, I hope to God she didn't have to be at work or have any major events coming up. But as long as those things weren't occurring, I mean, is it a little too far? It might be. Is it abuse? Absolutely not. Not if they have that back and forth. Not if they do this to each other and have fun with each other and have been a part of each other's pranks.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way if they have that history together.
I mean, suffice it to say, I mean, she did look a little blue afterward.
You had to go there.
I couldn't help myself. Come on. I mean, you know, the girl's body is blue. I mean, it's tragic and funny at the same time. I mean, I can't help myself. Oh Lord. I mean, suffice it to say, you know, he probably didn't. Who knows what happened afterward? Because, quite frankly, I don't think I haven't heard any follow up to that story.
Well, you know, I mean, he very well could be single at the moment if she felt he crossed the line too much.
Yeah,
that's very possible. I mean, heck, I went to New York for an interview and came home, and Joni and my son had dyed my dog blue.
No.
I walked in the door, and my poor dog Magoo is looking up at me like, you see what they did to me?
Oh, that's wrong. They dyed Magoo?
They dyed my dog blue, dude. I came home from New York and Magoo was blue. They thought it would wash out like real quick, and it didn't. It lasted weeks.
Oh my God, that's so messed up. That poor dog. Oh, that poor dog. Well, I mean, at least, you know, I mean, at least it washed up. Did they mean to do it, or was it?
Oh no, they absolutely meant to do it, but they thought, you know, they had checked. It was safe for pets. It was all this other stuff, but it was supposed to wash out, and sure enough, it didn't.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess Joni wanted Magoo to match her streak sometimes, because I know she always always
has the blue streak in her hair. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's probably why she wanted. She's like, this might be a good idea. So that's why she did it.
I think she was just pissed. I went to New York without her. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna do something. Make sure he takes me with it. He's not gonna trust leaving me at home anymore.
and it worked. Wow. Well, I mean, who knows what happened to him? I mean, who knows if they broke up? Who knows what's gonna happen if he's gonna continue? Or maybe this served as a lesson for him not to prank his girlfriend ever again after the.
Well, or maybe to find the line. I mean, you have to realize, growing up as I did, growing up on the set with the master prankster in Kirk Cameron. Mm-hmm. I mean, we tortured each other and everybody else on the set for years. I mean, it was so bad that the producers actually enlisted the help of Dick Clark and TV's Bloopers and Practical Jokes just to be able to try and prank Kirk back.
Nice.
So I grew up with this stuff, and I find it fun. I find it funny, and even if it's a little over the top, I mean, maybe you stay pissed for a day or two, but I mean, I certainly wouldn't ruin any relationships I have.
True, because at the end of the day, pranks are just pranks. You just get the person back.
Exactly, that's what it's for.
that's the whole purpose of it.
You just got to elevate your game,
Very true, very true. Well, I mean that's pretty much my version of my obscure news. Yeah,
that was a good one. Thank you.
I know I did the best I could. You guys always have better ones, but that's I saw that one. I was like, oh, that should be an interesting one. But
that was a little bit of a thin week for our weird stories. So
I know, right? What's going on with people? Come on, people, give us something to go ahead and.
Everybody's so serious right now.
Jeez, you telling me? Well, I mean, in going into speaking of seriousness, in entertainment news, famous DJ known for the song "I Like to Move It," Erick Morillo dies at 49. Now, the very interesting part about this unfortunate incident is that he was facing charges of sexual assault and was scheduled for a court hearing on Friday. Basically, the police, a police spokesperson, went ahead and told Variety that they received the 911 call at 10:42 a.m. and when at that stage, the detectives are in the preliminary stages of the investigation. Morillo was arrested in August after being accused of sexual battery on an unidentified woman in something that took place shortly after him and the woman DJ'd at a party. Morillo, denied the allegations, but they examined the woman, and she tested positive for his DNA. So he ended up turning himself into authorities, accompanied by his attorneys. So all this stuff was going on, and then he was found dead. By Miami authorities, and there's still no real I don't believe they found cause of death yet or anything like that, but it's just a very interesting coincidence how he's he's scheduled for a court hearing on Friday, and then suddenly he winds up dead on the Tuesday before that.
Well, you hate to speculate, but at the same time, the timing is very coincidental, and I'm quite sure over the next few weeks more will be revealed as cause of death, toxology reports, all those things start to come in. If it's suicide, that probably says something about him not wanting to face what was coming up, but you never know. I mean, things will be revealed as more information comes forward through the investigation, but the timing is rather coincidental.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of internet rumors as well.
No, of course,
that I've been seeing saying that some of the allegations were child pornography, child sexual abuse, things like that. Those are the other rumors that have been floating around in the internet. But so far, this is the only valid source is the fact of the matter that he was just being accused of sexual assault. So, I mean, he was very, like I said, he's a very popular DJ. He did that song, "I Like to Move It, Move It." I like to move it. So
yes, I know. My youngest ran around the house after the movie Madagascar played that song for about a year. That's all he sang. So yes, I do happen to know this DJ very well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, whatever the case is, Erick Morillo, rest in peace. Hopefully, you're able to find peace in whatever happened, and we're not not ones to judge. I mean, let whatever higher power judge you the way they see fit. So that's, at this point, that's pretty much as far as that goes.
And that's that. I mean, like I said, more information will be revealed, and we'll definitely find out more about this as the police investigation moves forward.
Exactly. Exactly. In other entertainment news, She's All That actress Rachel Lee Cook is set to produce her own Netflix rom-com 21 years after She's All That. So basically, she's gone from actress to producer now, and man, she's now 40 years old. Looks freaking gorgeous as always. I mean, that that woman does not age. She just gets even more beautiful. I don't know. Did you ever see that movie, She's All That?
I saw it years ago when it first came out, and definitely enjoyed the film. I like, me, I always like seeing people who were younger actors move forward to the other side of the camera and pursue something else as well. I love seeing people turn to directing and become fabulous directors and filmmakers. So this is really cool. I'm really interested to see what she does, and I really, really wish her all the success with this. I hope this, leads her to many more projects.
No, and she's actually very nostalgic. I mean, she loves she looks back on everything, and she actually said, quote, "I'm just grateful every day that I didn't come of age in the era of camera phones, and yet that makes me sound way more scandalous than I actually was." And I mean, I think we
all share that.
I was gonna say I think you could relate to that too.
Oh, dude, I mean, I've told you. There would be so much stuff out there. It's, if we lived in an era when I was on the show and we were being wild and crazy, if everybody had, video cameras in their pockets at that time, I mean, people would have a very different view of the actors of my generation. They just would. That's all there is to it. People think that these kids are so much more wild now, and maybe to a degree they are, just because of opportunity, but they're not really doing anything that different than we all did. It's just, it wasn't thrown out there on the internet for everybody to see every 5 seconds. And I mean, as I've said, I mean, in the middle of a Halloween scavenger chase at one point, me and Josh Saviano from Wonder Years and Breckenmeyer from Road Trip and all this other, we're having a drunken scavenger hunt on,
oh my god,
all across the valley. I mean, the people driving were sober, but everybody else was pretty much drunk. And I'm up on the big McDonald's playground tree mooning Ventura Boulevard at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So yes, these things would be all over the internet nowadays.
Oh my god.
There's all, I mean, we did dumb shit just like any other kids, and we just weren't being recorded all the time. I mean, it's just that simple.
TMZ would have had a field day with you guys.
Oh, I mean, but that's the thing. It was no different than what's going on right now. It really wasn't. I mean, we had our partiers. There was plenty of, drugs going around back then. There was plenty of everything going around. I mean, it was no different than now. It's just not everybody had a video camera in their pocket.
True. I mean, and the thing is that, Rachel, she started at a very young age, and she actually, it basically meant what she said, sacrificing, a quote, normal high school experience. She went ahead and she said, quote, like, how can anyone summarize a time in history to me that felt like leaving the teen years that I had promised myself when I was very young in favor of ones that I was told would be better? But that ultimately left me questioning myself on a day-to-day basis as much as any typical quote-unquote high school experience ever could have. I mean, if you want to throw yourself under a microscope, Hollywood's the best way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and again, about that because you started at the age of what, 8?
Started growing pains at 8. I started acting at 5.
So you definitely know all about growing up and not having a normal, teenage experience.
Well, I was lucky enough that my mother and my grandmother tried to make sure I had as many normal experiences as possible. Mm-hmm. That being said, once you hit those teen years, growing up under a microscope and on camera is very difficult, and even more so for most girls. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, guys going through puberty on TV, going through those awkward stages, being your teen years where you're subject to all this ridicule. I mean, given I didn't have the internet, I didn't have people ripping me apart on the internet every day and that kind of stuff. But I still went back to school at the end of the year. I still had lots of jealous kids who didn't like me without even meeting me just because I was on the show. You know, I'd walk in and they'd just start ragging on me and rip. I mean, I was bullied. But it was done in a way, and you know me, I was a bit of a hothead back then.
Yeah.
People knew not to take it too far or to do it in a way that was going to be like aggressively bullying, because I would have just beaten them into the ground. Mm-hmm. But they ragged on me. They did it in a playful, making fun way, and it was hard. I mean, when you every single day are being told, dude, your acting sucks, you know, this was bad, this was, you know, it gets to you, especially when you're so self-conscious during those years. Now picture a young girl who, to a degree, is going to be sexualized as she gets older as an actress. The young boys of her age see her as a sex symbol. As she gets older, the older guys will, and that is how Hollywood will try and portray her. Mm-hmm. That's a hard thing to go through as a girl. I mean, look at Tracy. You know, Tracy Gold grew up acting. She's been acting, you know, she started around the same time I did, around 5 years old, and grew up in the public eye. And at 10 years old was told she was too fat to be an actress and she had to start losing weight.
Yeah, her story is very tragic.
You know what I mean? This is growing up in that public eye, and then she develops an eating disorder. She develops all these other problems. That is such a common story in this business. Mm-hmm. So to see Rachel Lee Cook come through that, acknowledge that very difficult time, the sacrifices that she made to do that, to come out the other side and now be one of the people that can help guide those younger careers is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially like now's the time to go ahead and be doing that, because we're in a completely different era. She's in a completely different era where she could actually mold the minds of new up and coming actors. You know, even showcase a lot of brand new rom-coms, which I actually, you know what, I mean, I'll admit this. I mean, I love rom-coms. They're really cool. I can relate to a lot of them, because a lot of the stuff that happened in a lot of the rom-coms that I've watched happened to me in real life, with relationships that I had, you know, and you know, like, for example, last night, I mean, I've been binge watching, don't judge me, I've been binge watching Dawson's Creek.
Oh, I'm judging.
Of course you are. You always do. But you can't judge me too much, because, I mean, I'm watching Dawson's Creek, and Dawson's Creek's not that bad of a judgmental type of show for me, all right? So give me a break.
Well, compared to some of the other stuff you watch, I'll give you a break on
Gilmore Girls. Just say it, okay? It's Gilmore Girls, all right? I binge-watched Gilmore Girls.
Yes, and I'm still ashamed of you.
Oh, my God. You'll never let me live that one down, will you?
No, you had to hand in your man card. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? They're both really good-looking women, the stars. And
yes, I'm sure that's the only reason you were watching. You weren't there for the mommy-daughter drama that had you enthralled.
In other entertainment news, moving on, John Boyega rips Disney for his Star Wars role. Apparently, the Star Wars actor really laid into Disney, because he's going to be gracing the October cover of British GQ. And in the interview, he basically blames Disney for dropping the ball on his character. Doesn't blame J.J. Abrams. He completely He completely defends J.J. Abrams. He's the one who directed Star Wars, these new Star Wars movies, and he defends him, but lays into the studio itself. And he basically said, "quote What I would say to Disney is, do not bring out a black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good. I'll say it straight up." So, in essence, judging by what he said, he actually, and he also had one final thing that he also said was, quote, "What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. I'll take that deal when it's a great experience." So he really laid into them in this interview. Apparently, obviously it's very apparent that he wasn't too happy with the fact of the matter that his role was supposed to be, I guess, the center of attention, which doesn't make any sense because I would say Daisy Ridley's role was the center of attention in this whole thing from the very beginning. He was more of a co-star or main character. So I don't know. It was weird to me to hear something like that.
Yeah, I am a little taken aback by that. I'm not sure. I mean, we never know what he was promised or how they might have described or told him the character would be involved more. That's always possible. I mean, in development, I've seen that happen many, many times. Where it just doesn't go the way they explained it. But if you're any sort of a fan of Star Wars, you know that the main focus is going to be the Jedis.
Of course.
Now, he had a very crucial role, in my opinion, throughout all three films. They tried to make him more of that Han Solo sidekick type. I thought they did a great job with it. So I'm a little, I don't see the same thing. But again, we don't know what he was promised by Disney or by those people when they were in development. They could have sold it to him as him being a much bigger part of it.
True. And when he didn't get it, he was very upset about it without a shadow of a doubt. But here's the thing. Here's my only gripe. Dude, you starred in a franchise, a huge franchise, which pretty much puts your name out there. You're complaining about the size of the role or the importance of your character?
Well,
come on.
I would have to say, if anybody has a real gripe about that, it would be the Asian actress.
Yes!
Who was specifically given this great storyline through the first two.
Yep.
And then literally cast aside. That did not happen to his character.
Exactly.
So I'm a little taken back that he would see it that way. But again, like I said, they could have promised him or sold him on the idea of this as being a much bigger part of the universe for his character, and he may have been expecting that from the start. Who knows?
Either that or he's just, with all the fame and everything else, he's just developed that ego that suddenly, it starts talking to you and you start listening to that ego.
Well, you know me, I'm never going to go there just because things get taken out of context in interviews and you never know exactly what someone was trying to get across.
True.
It can often be, misquoted or at least misunderstood by the reporter that you're speaking to. So I'm never going to jump on anybody about that just because we don't know the ins and outs of it all. But I am a little shocked that he would, if he really feels that way, I'd want to hear more about why, because I don't see what he sees. I don't see his character being pushed aside. I really saw his character throughout all three of them as being a crucial, supporting character.
But man, putting Disney on blast like that, you don't want to piss off the mouse. That's going to be a tough one because it's like, yeah, I understand that he doesn't want to go. Like he went ahead and defended J.J. Abrams, but J.J. Abrams was the director that was hired by the mouse. that one, he's treading on some pretty thin ice with that one.
The mouse is very, very powerful, and we all know this, but the mouse also has a history of having people not want to go that direction again. They're a very demanding company to work for, and they have very specific things. And you have a lot of directors and a lot of actors who just don't want to do those projects anymore. John has reached a point where, you know, maybe he doesn't have to worry quite as much about an entire studio. And I mean, a studio who owns freaking a third of all the distribution in the world right now. You know, maybe he's reached that point. He doesn't have to worry about that. He's got other projects and other things he can do.
True. Well, we'll see if we see him in any other projects, because quite frankly, I haven't seen him in anything else other than Star Wars. So, and I haven't heard of him doing anything. Then again, you know, this pandemic has kind of put a damper on a lot of the stuff that's going on.
You're not hearing about a lot right now.
Very true. You're right about that. Well, in other entertainment news, I had the opportunity to interview up and coming actor and model Fred DiBella. He's done a lot of different types of print ads, different types of commercials and stuff, and he's even Adam Levine's body double. But first, here is Amanda Holley's Runaway right here on the Xander Effect.
No, I don't give a damn. You just screwed up, miss your chance. I'm on a new wave and need to slow it down, but pump your brakes. Switching double lanes, boy, you are lame. You talk that talk, but you can't back it up. Feeling some kind of way, I had enough. I'ma let you run. Run away, run away, run away, run away. But you ain't gon' break my heart, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Ain't got no time to beg or place a neck. But my day don't place a play. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Feeling yourself, you got nerve. You got blocked, you got curved. I'm on a new wave and need to slow it down, but pump your brakes. Switching double lanes, boy, you are lame. You talk that talk, but you can't back it up. Feeling some kind of way, I had enough. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. But you ain't gon' break my heart, boy. No, run away, run away, run away, run away. Ain't got no time to play, no place to make. But my day don't place a play. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Run, boy, run, boy. Run, boy, run, boy. Run, boy, run, boy, run, boy. I'ma let you run. Run away, run away, run away. But you ain't gon' break my heart, boy. Run away, run away. Ain't got no time to beg, no place to make. But my day don't place a play. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away.
So on the Xander Effect, I have actor and model Fred DiBella here. Hi, Fred. How you doing today?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Another hot day in paradise, man. You know how it goes here in Southern California.
Hey, no humidity at least. That's gone, thank God.
Yeah, man. It was crazy those few days when we did had humidity. I was like, I want to die. This is not good. It's like we get both dry heat and wet heat. It's horrible.
Yeah, but at least we don't have it like the East Coast does for like the whole summer. We get it for like maybe a week or two during over here. But like, thank God, like right now, it's so much better. I was going to the gym last week and this humidity going early in the morning, but still you're just drenched in sweat because it's so damn hot out.
Yeah, dude, it's so bad. But yeah, you know, at least it's getting better. And, you know, in the next couple of weeks, looks like it might be going lower now because we're getting closer and closer to fall now. So that's always a good thing. But we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about you and the fact of the matter, man, that you've done a lot in your career. I mean, you know, you started a model and then you got into acting. And I mean, mean, first of all, how did you get started in this industry?
You know, it's weird. So I had a girlfriend that was living on Melrose, and I was living in, I think, Orange County at the time. And we'd always go to Melrose, and we'd walk in, and we walked, you know, by a stoplight, telephone pole. Hey, would you want to be an actor? Want to be a model? You know, those things that people put on the telephone post, and you just pull one down. So I actually pulled one down, and I actually got legit free acting class out of it.
Oh, wow.
And that's pretty much how I started in the acting. The modeling started about probably 4 years after that. But just the randomest thing, just walking down Melrose, just pull a thing off a telephone pole, and bam. Yeah, but I learned, but I knew nothing about this industry because I didn't have any connections. So I had to learn on my own. So I would just network, ask people questions and stuff like that. And eventually, you know, you get your agents, and then you start getting the good jobs. And, you know, it takes a while, you know, if you got hookups, yeah, you probably get it easier than most people. But if you don't, it's a little long road to get there.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, did you always like growing up, did you always want to be in the entertainment industry, or did you have plans to do something completely different?
No, I remember when I don't know if you even know what this even is, but way back when I was like 18 years old, there was a store called CNR. If you're around my age, you'll know what CNR is if you lived in, I guess, Orange County area, maybe, or Lakewood or Long Beach. But I remember submitting pictures to that, but never really had any intentions on being in the entertainment business. I don't know what clicked in. I know I got fired from my job that I was working at, and that's when I transitioned into the acting. So maybe because I had a girlfriend living in Hollywood at the time. I don't know what it was, to be honest with you. That's a good question.
Well, I mean, what job were you doing at the time?
I was just bartending. I was working at a restaurant. I was young, so I was just working at a restaurant. I was bartending.
You got fired from bartending? I was a bartender. How did you get fired from bartending? What'd you do?
Well, apparently I gave away free drinks, so which every bartender does. But like,
no, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never given away free drinks.
Yeah,
that's a farce.
but in a way, it's funny because in a way I didn't mind it. I mean, because if I didn't get fired, I don't know what would have happened. But fast forward to about 10 years ago, now I bartend private parties now. So it's all open bar. So I got back into the bartending, but, you know, a while down the road.
Yeah, I know what you mean about that. I like diving into bartending every once in a while because I really enjoy it. It's fun. I mean, I'm a creative person as it is, and creating drinks it's just a lot of fun to do. You know, like coming up with different types of concoctions and seeing the satisfaction in your guest's face when they take a drink. They're like, "Wow, this is really good."
But you know what's funny is so the time difference that when I bartended at the restaurant to when I got into the private parties. There wasn't craft cocktails back then. The cocktails back then were Long Island's, Jack and Cokes, Rum and Cokes. I remember doing a party, and it was a Moscow Mule party. I had no idea what a Moscow Mule was because I had never made one. We never did that back then. So I'm sitting at the party, you know, trying to Google Moscow Mule. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it now. But you know, as soon as I get it, then I'm good. But yeah, there's so many different types of drinks that I've still never heard of. I mean, these people come up with some creative stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I mean, I remember the first time I actually was asked for a Moscow Mule, I also went blank because I'm used to, like you said, I'm used to drinks such as Long Island's, mojitos, AM abs, margaritas, the typical stuff that us bartenders, are used to. And then suddenly they started adding this craft cocktail crap, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Come on, So they just added more recipes. And the first time, I'll never forget it, I was actually working at this comedy club called Flappers in Burbank. And that was the first time that I was actually asked for a Moscow Mule. And I was like, what the F is a freaking Moscow Mule? And so I, like you, I looked it up. I was like, oh, it's actually very easy to make. Okay, yeah, I can make this. This is simple.
Yeah. But did you have the copper cups?
Did I what?
did you have the cups?
Oh yeah, no, the tin, yeah, you definitely have to have the copper ones, and those are the ones. Those are the ones where it really, for some reason, it just adds that freshness to it that I freaking love.
It keeps it nice and cold, is what it does too. I noticed.
Yeah, it really does. So we had the proper cups for it and everything. But yeah, like just go ahead and tell me what the ingredients are, and I got you. But you go ahead and you ask me out of nowhere, and I'm just like, what? Like, I look at you like you just asked me for the square root of something, completely blindsided. But that's really cool though. I mean, but you got into acting. I mean, what was your first like big like gig that you got, either from modeling or from acting?
Well, it was a commercial. I did a Captain Morgan commercial back in like 2004.
And how was that commercial for you?
It was pretty chill because back then I was still very new. And I remember I'm at the audition, and if you know the Captain Morgan commercials, there's the Captain Morgan stance where you put the one leg up, the one hand on. So when I was at the audition, they gave us a bench. So it was easy to do. But then at the callback, I remember I had to do it. There's 3 of us in there. This one dude that was next to me, this dude must have been like a gymnast or something. I don't even know. This guy was so proper, back straight, everything. I couldn't even stand up straight. I was falling down, and I booked it. And the 2 other guys that booked it with me, exact same thing. So I was like, okay, maybe you don't need to do it, because when you leave, you're like, oh, I should have did it this way or that way. It doesn't even matter. If they like you, they like you, and that's pretty much that was my first major one. Yeah.
Wow. And how did you feel when you got the call back that they said that you got the part? Were you just like, did we get free rum along with it or what?
Yeah, you know what? You never get free. It's so funny. I was actually at the chiropractor's office. I remember this on a Saturday, and my agent calls saying, "All right, you booked it." I'm like, "No way." I'm like, "I did?" I'm like, "Oh my God." So yeah, I was kind of freaking out because it was my first one. I was like, "Yes." But then you don't book something for a while, then you're like, "Oh, wait a minute here." It's not as easy as I thought it was.
No, that's pretty crazy. But I mean, at least you enjoyed doing it.
Oh yeah, I love it. Any job I do, it's because it's a new job. It's not like I'm going to the same job, so everything is different. So when I book something, I'm excited to go to work. So I mean, yeah.
No, without a doubt. And I also saw that you also booked a few other ones. I mean, obviously McDonald's that's another big commercial that you booked. Ford. But what about like when you booked a Porsche commercial? How did you feel about that one? That must have been a lot of fun to do.
Well, it was a print ad. It was for print. I was actually at my acting class, and my agent was like, "Hey, can you send a selfie of you right now? This is for Porsche." I'm like, "Really?" I sent a selfie, and I booked it. I'm like, "I really booked a Porsche print ad from a selfie?" Basically, my agent, they basically were, looking at their books or their website, or like, okay, we like him, but they want to make sure I look like the picture that they're looking at. So they just had me send a selfie, and that's why I booked Ford also. I booked Ford and Porsche the exact same way, sending selfies.
Wow. And did you end up driving and everything?
No. And it's funny because I till to this day have never seen the Ford print ad. I've seen the Porsche one, but not the Ford. I have no idea what happened to it. I don't know if they shelved it. I have no idea. There's so many jobs that some people do and you just never see them. You have no idea.
They probably like show up like in some obscure part of the world that you really didn't even know of. For all you know, you might be somewhere like, your ad must be somewhere like in freaking Bermuda or something or something like that.
But as long as I get paid, I'm good. So I get paid still, but whatever they want to do with it, they can go ahead and do with it. But I just don't know what happens to it. So
as long as that check clears, that's all that matters, right?
Exactly. They can afford it.
Nice. And you also did stuff with Peloton, and I got to tell you, that one's a little bit. When I saw that was a little shocking to me because I mean, obviously Peloton was involved in some controversy last year, having to do with their ads. I mean, how when you heard about that, what went through your mind when you heard about that?
Well, see, this is another thing. What the guy did, that was a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So mine, again, was a print ad. And when I did it, I was stoked on that one because I actually went to a Peloton store and rode a bike. There was a girl that was working there. And I was like, hey, I said, I haven't auditioned for Peloton. I just want to get familiar with the bike. And so she let me ride the bike for like 20 minutes. I did a class on there. And then when I booked it, I actually went back to that store and gave her a gift card for letting me ride the bike.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But I mean, it must have been like pretty crazy because I mean, regardless commercial or not, Peloton was being accused of like body shaming and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah. And people, and it's funny because my wife that I had for the print job is African-American. So, you know, white African-American. So, you know, I didn't really hear anything bad about it. Some people did ask about, were you the guy that was doing that? No. I said, mine's completely different. I got no backlash at all from this. And there's pictures, you know, some of the pictures that they did use have me and her in it. But I think it's just the way, just because it's a print ad, so it's a still shot. So it's a lot different than the guy walking down the stairs going, hey, I got you a Peloton because you look overweight, you know, so, or what people want to think. So, but Peloton's been great. COVID has been great for me because Peloton keeps getting renewed.
Yeah, especially because people are at home. They have nothing else to do right now.
Are at home. Exactly. My Peloton ad, I shot it in November, and it's got renewed. It just got renewed again. It's been renewed 3 times, I believe, 3 or 4 times. So I'm just like, this is great. My agent will send me, hey, Peloton wants to run for another 3 months. Perfect. Thank you very much. And once again, people ask, did you get a bike? No.
Yeah, those things are expensive too, man. Those bikes are freaking. I mean, I'd love to have one of those bikes because they look really good. And you know, I mean, if you really think about it, if you rack up how much money you pay monthly for a gym versus saving up for a Peloton bike and your own equipment at home, it actually comes out like you're actually coming out better than you would, you know, if you pay money for a gym membership.
Yeah, I mean, I think a Peloton bike is around like $2,500 or something. Then you have to buy the membership.
Yeah,
the subscription, which is another $49 a month or something like that. I think it is
something like that.
As long as, because you know, a lot of times, a lot of people, they're like, yeah, I want to get into fitness. I want to work out now. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and they'll buy the bike and they'll use it for about maybe 2 weeks, and then it just sits there and does nothing. And,
True.
You know, Peloton doesn't mind. You do whatever you want with the bike. When the person said it's yours, have fun with it.
Yeah, right? Well, I mean, it's the same thing for like treadmills and stuff like that, you know, with Bowflex and stuff. I mean, but the thing is, like with me, I mean, if I buy something, I'm going to use it. I mean, I had a treadmill that I was using for the longest time until it finally gave out. Like the motor just, you know, went kaput. Oh, wow. So yeah, wow. I mean, and I used the hell out of that treadmill every single day I was on it until it finally said bye. And yeah, I kind of miss it, but you know, it is what it is.
That's actually really good because to stay motivated to work out at home, that's kind of hard. A lot of people can't do that. Like they need the gym atmosphere. They need to be outside something to get them motivated, because when they have it in their house, for some reason, they'll walk right past it. But if it's at a gym, they'll be on it for an hour.
I don't know. I mean, with me, I guess it's different because, like, working out at home, I don't have anybody. I don't have to wait for a machine to be open. I can, you know, go at my own pace. I don't have to feel like ashamed of my own body in front of all these, like, you know, bodybuilding, hard body people. So I feel a little bit better. I could work out without my shirt on. Hell, I could work out freaking, you know, in my underwear and nobody will say nothing, you know? So,
exactly.
I mean, you know, that's the reason why I prefer doing it at home than working out at the gym. And that and then
if it rains or something, if I have a gym membership, I look outside, I'm like, it's raining. I don't feel like going to the gym when it's raining. But if it's at home, there's no excuse. It's like, your gym's right next door. Like, it's the next room. You just walk there. You don't have to like worry about rain or get in the car, and then none of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of advantages to working at a home versus working at a gym. But like you said, it's different for many people. Many people like that atmosphere. Many people need that motivation to continue to go. Me, I'm perfectly fine here at home. I had two machines that broke down on me. I had a treadmill that the engine went by, and then I had an elliptical that the screws or the metals, they just like tore apart. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it broke.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I had two great machines. Now they're both gone, and now I'm just fat again. So that pretty much didn't go too well for me. But it is what it is. But like I said, it's different people. I mean, I'll figure something out eventually. But going back to you, I mean, so you booked Peloton. You've booked a lot of things. I mean, right now you mentioned doing a lot of selfies and putting a lot of selfies. I mean, can a lot of people get away with doing those kinds of auditions, with selfies and stuff as far as print modeling go?
Yeah, because what happens is it's basically it's a direct booking. So the client, you can't do it for commercials. Obviously now you're doing self-tape for commercials at home, but prior to COVID, you go to an agent's website, they have all their pictures of the models. They never have the commercial actors, the actual actors. It's always they have the print boards online. So a client, every agent has a set of clients that they work with all the time. So instead of the client paying for a casting session, getting everything set up, people come into the room to get pictures taken, the client will be like, okay, let's just go to so-and-so's board, and we're looking for male models with this look, and we'll just go down the list and look, and we'll say, okay, this. They will contact the agent saying, hey, we want to put these people on a veil right now. Can you have them send, pictures of what they look like right now? And that's pretty much it. I've had 5 direct bookings from, print jobs. A lot of print jobs are direct bookings just for that reason. It's just much easier.
Nice. So that's really cool. That's really cool to know for a lot of people that want to go ahead and try to get in on it right now with the pandemic, with everything that's going on. So that's good advice right there. So let's get to another really interesting fact. Is the fact of the matter that you are Adam Levine's body photo double. Like how did you? I mean, you kind of look like him. I'm not gonna lie, you do kind of look like him. So I can see how that happened. But how did that happen?
So years ago, before I let my hair go salt and pepper and gray, my hair was dark. And so I would hear it. I've been hearing it for about 20 years now, ever since before Maroon 5 even became a huge band. And but I didn't really know who that. I'm like, who Maroon 5? I looked up, okay, I could see. At the time, he had no tattoos. I had no tattoos. We just had dark hair. And so what happened was casting directors that knew me personally, if they had anything that was Maroon 5 or Adam, they would contact me, say, hey, we want to book you as his body double, his photo double. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that went on for like a couple years, and then I was on set working with him, and I was talking to his hairstylist. And I remember asking him, I'm like, do you go with him on tour and stuff like that? And he's like, no, I have a salon over here, and, you should come in, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I said, I can't afford you. There's no way on earth. I said, I pay $15 to an Asian lady that barely speaks English in Glendale. And I said, there's no way. He goes, no, come in, I'll take care of you. I'm like, all right, cool. So I started going to him, and he would always ask. He's like, why aren't you on set? They hire these guys that don't look like him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, let me tell you how this works from my end. You're on a way different end than I am. I said, unless Adam says, I want him, they don't know. That's a done deal, but they don't know who I am. Mm-hmm. Casting directors know who I am, and they'll call me up if they have anything with him. Well, one day he overheard the people from his music video team talking, saying, hey, we need a photo double or body double for this music video. He was like, hold on, I got a guy for you. Showed them my picture. Text me, said, hey, call this number. I call this number. I was on set the next day. And then ever since then, I get booked through, I pretty much through his people. I skip the casting. And so I guess my information gets sent out to production, whoever the production is for what he's doing. And they know that I'm his guy for this and that.
Wow.
And that's been so that actually really, and then I would tell him, I'm like, see, this is what I've been trying to tell you. See, I said, now it works. And the thing is, he's used the same people for the past, since I've been working with him.
So I mean, I was going to ask anyway, if you have spoken to him, you have developed some sort of business relationship or possibly even a friendship.
Well, I don't have his phone number. He doesn't invite me to his Halloween parties or nothing like that. But he's very, I mean, he knows who I am obviously now by this point, but I'll talk to him on set. But other than that, yeah, it's just, I think that what it is, he feels comfortable because I'm not on set trying to sit there. I took a picture. I don't know if I think I sent you the picture of me and him. That's when I first started working with him. And then ever since then, it's just like, okay, it's just him. No big deal. I'm not on set trying to sneak videos, trying to take pictures, this and that. So, and I think when you work with someone that is A-list, they want to feel as comfortable as possible and have to worry about some guy like trying to sneak pictures around and sell them on the internet.
Of course.
So, and he knows, that I'm just very chill. I, come to work. Hey, because now it's just like, hey, what's up? It's Adam. No big deal. But like, but yeah, it's just, I think it's a trust that was built from working with him, and he feels comfortable using me. And so I continue to be used, but I haven't worked with him since January, so ever since this COVID stuff.
Yeah. No, and I was going to ask, I mean, since this pandemic has been affecting a lot of people, the industry, the studios, everything, I mean, what projects, obviously you said that the print ad is actually doing well for you. I mean, as far as, as far as residuals and everything, but I mean, what have you got planned for, I mean, or do you have any projects that are upcoming at all?
Well, I do. So I have an agent in Vegas, TNG Models, and I did book a print job for Virgin Hotels. It's not even open yet. So Virgin Hotels was supposed to open in September. I booked a photo shoot. I was supposed to go to Vegas back in mid-July for 2 days to shoot, but then they called me and said, hey, this is getting pushed to the fall because of COVID. So, I have that as of right now, unless it gets canceled completely. So other than that, I really don't have anything else lined up. I've been auditioning and stuff like that, but other than that, no, not really.
Nice. Well, I mean, at least you're keeping busy with something, and that's the important part. So, I mean, how can people stalk you on social media?
Frederick.DiBella, FREDERICK D as in David, I, B as in boy, ELLA.
And that's for which platform?
That's for Instagram.
Nice. You haven't gotten into the TikTok craze, have you?
No, I did it like once. I was on set one time, and this girl was on there. I was like, yeah, it's TikTok. I'm like, I tried it, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm too old for that, I guess. It's just, but there's some people around it. They're funny. I like watching. A friend of mine who have gotten really good at editing videos. I'm like, how are you doing all this? How are you actually memorizing these lines? Because there's a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, they do.
No, they do. They put a lot of effort into a lot of their videos. I've seen that. Like some of these people, they actually spent hours, making sure that that a 1 minute video comes out perfect. Don't ask me. Like that's a lot of time for 1 minute. But
I just got used to, because when this pandemic hit, because I am not phone savvy at all when it comes to sending videos through WeTransfer or Google Docs or whatever. I had to learn, because I do have a Ring Flash and a tripod that my agent was like, everyone needs to invest in one of these, because every audition is going to be, that you need good lighting. So I pretty much, when I get my audition notice of how to send this, to me, it's like, oh my, this is so confusing to me. But once I've done it one time, it's easy. So I've learned how to do that, at least during this.
Nice, man. Well, I mean, I'm sure that once this thing settles down, I'm sure that you'll have plenty of work, because I mean, once everything reopens, it's going to be like full steam ahead for every single industry. So, I'm sure you'll be getting phone calls from Adam's people once again, very soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Yes.
Well, Fred, man, thanks a lot for being on the Xander Effect, dude. And, hopefully I'll have you back on here again very soon. And hopefully I'll be seeing some of your ads, in billboards and commercials very soon, man.
That'd be nice. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for calling me, for interviewing me. This is great. So anytime you want, you let me know when.
No worries, man. Thanks a lot, brother. We'll talk soon. Take care.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Fred, for being on the Xander Effect. Hope to have you on here again very soon. In sports, famous soccer player Neymar tested positive for COVID-19. The Paris Saint-Germain star had basically, gotten tested, and after a holiday in Ibiza, him and 3 members of his team basically they all got tested, and they all tested positive for it. However, a media outlet, according to TMZ, called L'Equipe, said basically that the 28-year-old Brazilian superstar, quote, the 28-year-old Brazilian superstar is one of the players who tested positive, along with his PSG teammates Angel Di Maria and Leo Paredes. Now, this is gonna kind of hit hard a little bit with PSG. And PSG also posted a statement on Twitter saying 3 at PSG _English players are confirmed positive after a SARS-CoV-2 test and have undergone the appropriate health protocols. All players and staff will continue to be tested over the next few days. I mean, there is a pandemic going on right now, right? I mean, last I checked.
That's what I thought. I mean, I was pretty sure this is, worldwide, and everybody was pretty aware, but,
I mean, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but during the pandemic, when they tell people, hey, don't party, hey, try to have, 6 feet social distancing, hey, wear a mask. I tend to listen to stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I'm being crazy or radical, but that's a very interesting concept to actually listen to health officials.
Yeah, right now it's, not the popular thing to do. Conspiracies and BS are considerably more popular. But no, I tend to listen to the people who've spent, hundreds and thousands of dollars on an education and are immensely smarter in this area than I will ever be. I tend to, try and follow those guidelines.
I swear, dude, this is just annoying. I mean, this isn't the first time that Neymar has broken COVID protocols. He, many people recall that he actually swapped jerseys with Leipzig defender Marcel Halstenberg following their game on August 18th. It's like, dude, you're sweaty and you're swapping jerseys.
I'm
at a loss.
I have to. I'm not at a loss, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know Neymar. I really don't follow soccer very much. I know who the big guys are and all that stuff. But amongst athletes, amongst entertainers, amongst anybody who reaches those heights of fame, those heights of money, those heights of power, there's a tendency to almost feel invincible. Like none of this applies to you. And that's just ridiculous, but you see it. You see an entitlement with a lot of people like that. You see whether it's they just believe they're in such great health. I mean, there's been so many athletes who just, were of the thought, I'm an athlete. I'm in the top shape. If I get it, I get it. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Really? They're now finding out that even if you barely had the symptoms, you can end up with heart problems and lung problems and all this stuff 10 years down the line. These are athletes who rely on their bodies. And yet, it's no big deal. Really?
Well, that's not the worst part. You're talking about conditions that may, reappear in 10 years from now. I mean, some of these athletes are on their way out. Like Neymar, he's only got like a few years left in him. He's infecting the younger generation, the ones that have just gotten their career started, some of them, or he's putting them at risk.
For me, that's the biggest part of it. Anybody who, you're not going to violate my rights and I'm going to do what I'm going to do and da-da-da-da-da, you want to kill yourself. You don't care about you. That's fine. But, you are...
So take me with you.
You are risking the lives of the people around you. We've talked about this before. I have 3 immunologically compromised people in my home. I am going to do everything I can at all times to make sure I am not bringing anything back that could harm them.
Mm-hmm. And
I love my family. Why would I want to do anything to hurt them? Beyond that, how would I ever live with myself knowing that I brought something here that not only hurt them, maybe killed them?
Agreed, and the same thing goes for me as well. I have a father that I have to look after that he's half paralyzed, and that means that only half his organs are properly working, and that means that only half of his lungs are working. So I have to really be careful with him. Hell, we've hung out, before, and I've even told you that. I mean, there might have been a risk of exposure, so I wear a mask around you and your fiance. I wear a mask around both of you for that reason.
Do we when we've been in the car together.
Exactly.
Joni has her mask on. I have mine. You have yours. Exactly. The only time we took it off was when we went to the park.
Yeah.
And had lunch, when we had lunch together and we sat 6 feet apart.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that they're very simple rules, very, very simple rules. And it's not difficult to follow them. Just follow them. I mean, come on.
For me, a little bit of consideration for the other people around you is all this life needs. I mean, Truthfully, if more people in this world, beyond COVID, beyond anything else, if more people in this world were a little more concerned with the well-being of those around them rather than themselves, this world would be a hell of a lot better, a hell of a lot quicker.
Agreed. Well, I mean, so far, Neymar is going to be out for a little bit, and, we'll see what other consequences or reprimands he might get for violating, again, the COVID protocol. So we'll see what happens with him in the near future. In other sports news, Patrick Mahomes receives his Super Bowl ring, and his girlfriend receives an engagement ring. So looks like Patrick is in the mood to celebrate. Not just the fact of the matter that he won the biggest game, not just the fact of the matter that he just renewed his contract for $500 million, but he's also celebrating the fact that he just got engaged to his longtime high school girlfriend Brittany Matthews with a freaking diamond ring the size of Kansas.
Well, I mean, with that type of, they say, 2 to 3 months, paycheck on the ring. He's making $500 million. That's going to have to be a pretty damn big ring.
Oh my God, dude, that thing's huge, but here's the thing. It's like, I always see these athletes get engaged. I mean, they're a very young couple. I mean, they've been pretty much inseparable for the longest time. And I mean, obviously that woman's no dope. She's not gonna just, let him roam around freely like that. Cause I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he's a good looking guy and he's young and he's a successful NFL player. There's going to be women lined up around the corner to get to him. So she's going to be right there to, stake her claim and make sure no one goes anywhere near this guy.
I don't really look at it the same way because they are high school sweethearts, because they've been together so long. You don't really hear that stuff as much anymore. It's not as common. Those type of relationships, I really think have the best chance of working in this situation. Entertainment, sports, all of that is very hard to keep a marriage going. You're away from each other a lot. You've got outside pressures constantly. You have outside temptations coming in constantly. You have all this different stuff. They have a trust. They have a relationship that they've built up long before he was ever anybody.
True.
You know, and again, not saying that she was ever after his money or anything else.
Of course not, yeah.
But they've had a history that goes well beyond any of this. So although I am not somebody who believes, you know, in a very early marriage, you know, I don't think most people have grown up enough to handle the rigors of marriage at a young age. But
even some grown-ups can't even handle it.
Are you kidding? Most grown-ups can't handle it. But I think the mature, I mean, I have both of my parents divorced twice. Both have been married 3 times. And third one was the charm for both of them. You tend to see second and third marriages down the line be the ones that last because you've learned, because you've grown. And if you haven't, then guess what? They don't work, you know, but that's the truth. And getting married at 21, 24, 25 years old, you haven't experienced a hell of a lot of life, and you're going to change a lot over the next 10, 15 years. But like I said, somebody like them with that type of history, I think they got a better chance than most. And I think he obviously cares and loves her very much in that he's wanting to do this now. So I think they got a great chance. And Patrick seems like a stand-up guy. Everything comes off as very down to earth,
very solid.
How you can maintain that being worth as much and making what he's doing, being shoved into that godlike on a pedestal role, that's tough. But if anybody has a shot at, you know, remaining humble, I think he does.
I mean, you talk about godlike type of role. Speaking of that, actually, one of the lead singer of one of the bands that I play on here, Dirty Machine, lead singer Dirty Davo, he actually has something he called a champ stamp, where he tattooed an image of Patrick Mahomes on his lower back. And it was all over the local news in Kansas City, because he's from Kansas, so he's obviously a Kansas City fan. And it was all over the news. He even was on Jimmy Kimmel the day that Patrick Mahomes was being interviewed shortly after his loss in the playoffs 2 years ago, and he was on there. And he actually, I interviewed Dave, Dirty Davo. I interviewed him, and I talked with him about this. There's footage of it on YouTube. You can check it out. The Xander Effect on YouTube. You can check it out, and you'll see the episode where he actually is sitting in the front row. Jimmy Kimmel tells him to get up, and Patrick Mahomes signs his lower back tattoo.
That's great.
I mean, it was awesome. It was an awesome thing. And then he went back to the tattoo parlor to make sure that he got the signature
inked. Yep.
Yeah. So it was pretty funny. And Patrick Mahomes still recalls that. He actually still recalls that. He actually Dirty Davo will put it on his Instagram, a clip of Mahomes being asked the question, "What is the craziest thing you've ever experienced while being, pretty much an NFL quarterback for Kansas City?" And he brings up the fact that, he's like, well, the craziest thing is having the fans, pretty much put a tattoo on themselves of me. It's weird to me. And so he still recounts that. I mean, Davo definitely is one of those hardcore fans that sees that. I mean, he says that it was a bet that he lost, I guess, or something like that, something to that effect. To say that some of these fans have put some of these players in a god pedestal position would be an understatement at this point. But yeah, but congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and his girlfriend Brittany, and I mean, you know, I wish them much love and luck,
all the best,
you know, in their upcoming nuptials. In other sports news, speaking of football, it is fantasy football season, and I'm here to get ready to defend my championship.
You mean hand it over?
We just recently
you need to rephrase that.
We just recently had our fantasy football draft over the weekend. And by the way, Jeremy, I do hate you a lot because you took two players that I was looking at. You know, I mean, this time there was no auto draft for you, Jeremy.
Yeah, this time I was doing it myself, so you didn't have those juicy picks just waiting for you to help your team. I had to scoop them up myself.
Oh my God, it was. But you know what? I gotta say, it was a very weird draft this year. I mean, we had to like take into account so many different factors. I mean, we had to take into account how they're going to, because we still have no idea how exactly they're going to do this season. It's still unpredictable. The NFL hasn't really talked about how they're going to structure this season as far as the games go with COVID and everything. I mean, we had to take into account the COVID factor. Obviously, we talked about how some players, they think that they're immune to everything. I mean, you look at Neymar, for example. That's one. And then you have Ezekiel Elliott that got infected after he had been told it's a pandemic, don't hold parties. He did it anyway. He got infected. There's other NFL players that have also been infected with the virus. So we took into account that. We took into account, along with that, the protests that are currently going on right now, because a lot of sports teams are protesting against racial injustice, and so I mean the Titans took a stand on that. So we had to take into account all these different factors when choosing players for the fantasy draft.
It was a very interesting draft. This is a very interesting year. It's going to test everybody's abilities this year. I passed on, a couple of players that I definitely would have taken in any other year. But they're coming into a new situation with no pregame, no real preseason, no real time to get comfortable with their new teammates, with the new playbook, with, forming chemistry. So I think we're going to see a lot of struggle and underperformance early on for some people. We also added injury reserve slots this year for people who maybe get out with COVID and different stuff. So everybody's going to have to be very flexible. This was look at it already. Already, Leonard Fournette was cut. This is a guy who nobody was expecting to carry their fantasy team, but is a workhorse who's put up good fantasy numbers for people over the last couple of years and was a solid number 2, number 3 back. Now, all of a sudden, whoever drafted him has no running back because he hasn't been picked up by another team. The reason the Jaguars had to cut him was because they couldn't get any trade offers. They were hoping just to get a 4th or a 5th round draft pick out of him, and no one would offer it.
True.
So I don't see him getting picked up right away. He probably doesn't get a job until a quarter way through the season, at least, when somebody gets hurt and they need to pull somebody in. Things are already starting to get a little weird. So, this is going to be interesting, man. It's the first year in a long time that I don't have full confidence in the season, just because nobody knows what's going to happen. I mean, I am arrogant about my fantasy football skills. You know this.
And as well you should be, because you do have those skills. But
thank you, brother. But I do not have that confidence this year. It's just so unpredictable as to what's going to happen. I mean, I love my draft. You saw it. The computer loved my draft too.
Blah blah blah.
Well, it did. I mean, that's the truth. I'm not bragging.
No, you're right. It gave you an A, an A letter grade, so it definitely like that.
Again, I have no confidence in this. We don't know who's going to be playing, who isn't, what weeks. I mean, you could lose somebody for 3 or 4 weeks. That's crucial to your team. I think it's going to be a very fun season because it's going to really test everybody's abilities, and you're really going to have to stay on top of what's happening in the league this year.
Very true. Very true. It's definitely, this year is definitely a crapshoot for many different variables that could occur. So it's I'm telling you, man, it's a very I'm hoping that the season goes all the way through without a hitch and without any issues, but that's asking that's asking for a lot. I get it. I know. That's pretty much asking for my poop to come out gold. So, I mean,
I think you might have a better shot at that, but we're talking about 30 plus teams with 70 guys, 80 guys on each team, all going into close contact and sweating. I mean, you're talking about a sport where you regularly get another person's sweat or blood in your mouth, on your face, in your eye. I mean, this is going to be interesting, and the fact that these guys are willing to still go forwards and still do this. I mean, it shows their passion for it, their love for it, and still some of their ignorance. I mean, I don't know if you got to see the Kirk Cousins quote from yesterday, but Kirk Cousins gave an interview and basically said, if I get COVID, I get COVID. Who cares?
Oh, my God.
And his teammates have stepped up and basically ripped him and been like, you're an idiot. You're risking our lives. Don't be stupid. But I mean, this is a grown man who, for whatever reason, just straight out said, I don't care if I get it. I get it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, and that's just being irresponsible. That's just irresponsible.
I agree.
And the other thing too is that a lot of these athletes may be in great shape, but some of them, you know, again, we've seen news reports of people that are in fantastic shape that get COVID and die. And many are like, they were in great shape. We don't know what happened. Like you said, we've talked about this many times before. There's still a lot about this virus that we don't understand, that we're learning still. We still haven't learned everything there is to know about this virus yet. I mean, I have a gamer that I just recently found out that he got COVID, and this young kid, he's an essential worker. He works at a supermarket in New Jersey, in the freaking hotbed of COVID when it was going on. Mm-hmm. And he ended up getting COVID, and although he says that he's doing better, he's actually doing a lot better. I mean, even though he's overweight, he's got asthma, he has chronic asthma, that he has an inhaler and everything. He says that it hit him to the point where he's his symptoms basically included fatigue, congestion, diarrhea, and he didn't get the fever though. That's the thing he said. I didn't get the fever, but again, it's still very early. I mean, he just barely got it on August 24th, so he still has a little while to go. But still, it's one of those things where this virus hits different people in a different way. So we don't know, like, it can hit one person extremely hard, or it could hit one person extremely light. So we still don't know.
Exactly. And like you said, we don't know all the consequences. We're only just now learning about the long-term effects this is going to have. And no, we don't know if it's going to affect everybody or who will suffer from this down the road. But they're seeing very significant data that shows that we're talking about heart and lung damage, and possibly even other damage that is going to be there, that is going to cause complications down the road.
And that's not to mention also the fact of the matter that we're entering a time of year where the flu season begins, and the experts are already saying that they're expected for COVID cases to start going on the rise again come like November or so, right in the middle of right in the very start of football season, pretty much, where a lot of these players are out in the snow, they're out in the cold and the rain. They could easily, it's easy for them to catch a cold, let alone COVID.
Exactly. Play in those conditions, the extreme cold, all that other stuff, it puts your immune system at risk already.
It's just it's something that a lot of these players need to take into account, especially going into this season. But again, going back to fantasy football, I guess we just got to wait and see, right?
Flexibility is the word of the day, man, in fantasy football this year. It's going to be a wait and see game, and everybody's going to have to adapt.
It's going to be a crazy one, but I'm expected to win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Expected by you, no one else. But
I mean, haters are going to hate, bro. I mean, haters are always going to hate. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
This guy backs into a championship and thinks he's fucking Tom Brady.
Backs into a championship.
You've got to be kidding me.
Get out of here! I won that. Like, first of all, there is no question that I made incredible decisions last year. I made incredible picks. I made incredible plays. I'm starting to sound like our president right now by saying the word incredible a lot.
Yes, you won very bigly. But let me point out, our friend Steve actually had the best season hands down somehow did not make the playoffs.
I mean, but that's not my fault. How is that my fault? I
didn't say it's your fault. What I said is there was some statistical galactic anomaly that won't occur again. I've never seen somebody outscore an entire league and not make the playoffs.
Listen, I mean, I can't. I have no control over Yahoo's decisions or algorithms or whatever it is they put into place. I have no control over that. All I know is that I won fair and square, and Vin Diesel said it,
and you get to enjoy it while you can. But
Vin Diesel said it best in Fast and the Furious. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or by a mile. Winning's winning. So, and I did exactly that.
Enjoy it while you can, baby, because your reign is over.
Oh, it's so cute how you dream. Dream big. Dream big. Don't ever dream little, buddy. Coming up next in video.
Don't dream of your crotch.
Coming up next in video game news, Cyberpunk 2077's developers C Project Red clarifies that the game will not be 200 gigabytes. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up next. But first, here is JSunn's Up and At It right here on the Xander Effect.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. You know what time it is. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the pepper, once we get it, gotta stack it. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the bag, run it up, I gotta have it. We up and at it, cause I gotta get to it, though. Poppin' tags, getting wop, yeah, that's all I know. Bankroll, say cheese, this ain't a centerfold. Making cake, stack it up, yeah, I'm out the dough. I'm out the dough, rainy days without a raincoat. No excuses, no handouts, I ain't the scapegoat. Sunny days on the way, yeah, I'm thankful. But for now, deposit this into the bank, bro. These out here all the time. That got a check on my mind. Niggas out here wasting time. Get it right or get left behind. On my way now, going straight down. People play games, I don't play around. Getting to it, I'ma do it. Ain't no show and tell, but I'm gon' prove it. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the pepper, once we get it, gotta stack it. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the bag, run it up, I gotta have it. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the pepper, once we get it, gotta stack it. Chase the bag, run it up, I gotta have it. I need that. Bring it back. Say what? Overtime on the grind, yeah, it's on my mind. Chase the bag, get a check, sign a dotted line. Backbone, got your back, yeah, I'm on your spine. Scoliosis, line it up, I walk a straight line. Presidential cost thousands, let me see the time. Not the ball, but I really live my best life. Afterlife, run it back in my next life. Too much foul play, you know you get the tech right. Run it up, gotta get what's mine. Can knock the hustle, you can see it in my eyes. Up next, it's my time. Gotta get mine. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the pepper, once we get it, gotta stack it. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the bag, run it up, I gotta have it. We up and at it, we up and at it. Chase the pepper, once we get it, gotta stack it. Chase the bag, run it up, I gotta have it. What's happening? This is your favorite gangster, Duke Brown.
Hey guys, this is Ian Gary.
Hey, this is Annalise Hoveda.
Hey yo, this is Nightmare from Dirty Machine.
Hi, this is Cambree Lovesy.
Hey, this is Steph Lee.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Xander Effect.
never saw coming. She'll hit you like a bomb boom and leave you with nothing. Her smile will knock you out like Novocaine to the brain. You'll never be the same. Her eyes will strip you down right out of your blue jeans. Get under your skin, don't you know what I mean? She'll make you think you're the king of everything. Then she'll blow it all up with gasoline. You can be a fool and fall if you wanna, but if you fall now, you're gonna be a goner. She's a slick, smooth, slide, heartbreaking machine. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. You can stick around like all the others. You can check out before you discover she's a hit-it-out chick. Boy, take it from me. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. She'll make you think that she's staying, but you're just another stop on the trail she's blazing. There are a string of broken hearts from east to west. What a mess. I wonder who's next. You can be a fool and fall if you wanna, but if you fall now, you're gonna be a goner. She's a slick, smooth, slide, heartbreaking machine. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. You can stick around like all the others. You can check out before you discover she's an in-and-out chick. Boy, take it from me. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. You can be a fool and fall if you wanna, but if you fall now, you're gonna be a goner. She's a slick, smooth, slide, heartbreaking machine. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. You can stick around like all the others. You can check out before you discover she's an in-and-out chick. Boy, take it from me. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. You can be a fool and fall if you wanna, but if you fall now, you're gonna be a goner. She's a slick, smooth, slide, heartbreaking machine. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen. You can stick around like all the others. You can check out before you discover she's an in-and-out chick. Boy, take it from me. She's a runaway, runaway, runaway queen.
That was Cambree Lovesy's Runaway Queen right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, looks like the developers of Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red, went ahead and clarified that the game won't take up 200 gigabytes of hard drive space after there was a rumor about it that was originated on Reddit. Also, a global community lead, Marcin Mamut, basically went on Twitter and also made sure that they clarified it. And he said, quote, while the Cyberpunk game system requirements are not out yet, they are coming soon, though. I wanted to address this topic from Reddit. The game won't take up 200 gigabytes when installed. You can expect the required HDD space to be on par with other modern titles. So a lot of people, I mean, 200 gigs, that's pretty freaking huge. That's damn near an entire hard drive.
200 gigs would burn, half my hard drive. I'd have to unload a ton of stuff.
No kidding. I mean, that pretty much would have freaked anybody out.
Well, I have to say, as much as I'm looking forward to this game, I have gotten so tired of this back and forth with the developers, with them coming out every and this is what we're doing, and we're coming out this year, and oh no, now we're not coming out this year, we're not coming out for 2 years, no, we're not coming out for 3 years, no, we're not coming out for 4 years. This has been going on with this game for 4 years now.
True.
And people have been waiting, people have been expecting it, and I do respect the fact that thankfully they did not rush this out like a lot of people do just to try and stick to their stated release date. You know, they've gone back and they're trying to make sure they're doing it right. I'll give them credit for that. But this has become so common with developers now. You know, they have to overpromise. They got to get the hype up and everything else, and then they can't deliver, and it gets delayed, and it's, oh, well, we couldn't deliver on this, and these graphic things we wanted to add aren't there, and, you know, it happens with every game now, and I'm so sick of the drama. Like, I mean, quit promising us crap you can't deliver on.
I mean, they were kind of you know, waving around a steak in front of our hungry faces this entire time, and I get what you're saying, and I see where you're coming from. Fortunately, Cyberpunk, you know, finally made the decision to go as scheduled. You know, they are releasing this year because it's already at the Xbox store with a date of when it's releasing and everything, so they can't back out now. There's no backing out now. Now they're
finally,
yeah. And they also recently revealed that the game will feature free DLC on top of paid expansions. So that's a little cool little extra, you know, that they added on there. So I'm happy about that. But I mean, I'm still it's such a good game. Like, it's such
it looks incredible.
It looks great.
It looks great. I definitely, like I said, I am really interested in this game. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm just so tired of the game that all these developers play, and it's become common, you know, it's become acceptable, and it's just like, you know, quit with the hype machine until you have something you can actually deliver on.
I mean, my hope is that, at the very least, I hope that we're not set up for a huge reveal and then suddenly it doesn't deliver, or it has a bunch of glitches, or it has something that, you know, we just don't like, and all of a sudden we're like, dude, this is what all the hype was about. This game sucks.
I have to believe.
I don't want that.
I don't either. I mean, nobody does, but I have to believe, with all the delays and the amount of time they seem to have put into fixing or making sure it's right, I have to believe that it's going to be pretty solid. You know, they've put multiple release delays in. They've had multiple developments they've had to work on. So I really believe and am hoping that this will deliver fully. I think it should be a pretty tight game.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait to see and find out what happens. I also wanted to go ahead and add, you actually recently, because going back in other video game news, actually, talking about Mafia, you recently got a chance to check out a YouTuber that played the first Mafia game. I guess he got access to it.
Yeah, he got a early access demo, which he thought was only a demo. They gave him the whole game.
Wow.
And he did a playthrough of the first maybe hour and a half of the game. And I got to tell you, it looks phenomenal.
Nice.
I mean, the original Mafia game is such a classic, and they have reimagined it while staying very faithful to what the original game was. It looks beautiful. It is film quality. It is absolutely one of the most gorgeous looking games I have seen. I cannot wait to play it.
Man, this really sucks. I have so many decisions to make, because this week I'm supposed to buy a few games, and I'll be reviewing them, checking them out. This week is the release of Avengers, that game as well. I'm looking forward to that, because I want to see exactly what kind of gameplay it has. It says that it has multiplayer capabilities to do co-op, so that's really cool. I want to check that out. But I also want to check out UFC 4, see how the new UFC game measures up to the other ones, and of course Madden 21. I've seen some of the gameplay from other gamers online, and the game looks pretty cool. I want to see exactly how that measures up as well. And now there's Mafia, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't decide. So many decisions, so many places to go with this. It's a tough one, but I guess I'll figure that out later on this week.
I'm sure you will.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here with me.
Always a pleasure talking with our listeners, and always miserable having to put up with you.
You know what? It's just sad. I mean, you should always, from this point on, call me your league champion and your future league champion. Wow,
man.
You laugh at that. You keep laughing.
The grandiose dreams. Oh, you are delusional.
You keep laughing at that, my friend, but he who laughs hardest laughs last, I should say.
Actually, it's he who laughs.
I don't care. I made it. I don't care. I don't care. See, I made it up.
And I will be the one laughing last, baby.
Whatever. But aside from that, please, everybody out there, we're still in the pandemic. We can't stress this enough. Continue to wear your masks. Continue to social distance yourself. Try to, be mindful of the people that you have around you. Make sure you're safe for not only yourself, but for others around you. And remember, music always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. I was ain't open that mouth. Shreddy, she's talking and open that mouth. If it say something, we dumping it out. And then it's something it out. And then it's got it, it's part of this stuff, it's got it. Dumping it, that's it, we got it. And then we done it, we done it. And it say something, we open it out.
The Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., Sony Music The Orchard, and DMG Bertelsmann. In association with Art 19 Media.